Howdy everyone. Today I'm showing off a mini I sculpted as part of a collab slash mini swap here with my friend Aaron. Aaron runs the channel Summon Lesser Maker here on YouTube, where he mainly focuses on making Mordheim content for him and his son to play on. On top of that, this crazy fucker puts out content weekly to boot, mostly terrain videos, but he dabbles in minis as well, even Necromunda occasionally. Recently he made a really cool Forest Goblin's warband from Mordheim, yet he was short one mini, a Spider Shaman. The standard Spider Shaman aesthetic wasn't exactly a great match for his more knightly looking goblins, so I hooked him up. As with most of my sculpts, I start from an armature made of wire, tin foil, and a little green stuff or milliput to reinforce it all. This gives me a solid base to work off of, although this time it looks a little sus. As I like to do with these builds, I started with the feet and worked my way up the legs. Since the head and arms will have armor, I sculpted the goblin with sabatons equipped with that little pointy bit on the end. After finishing the legs, I work up to the waist and make the bottom of the goblin's robes. I've never sculpted long flowing robes before, so this was a bit of a challenge. What I ended up with was not exactly perfect, but you can tell what it's supposed to be at a distance, so I'll settle. The original armature only accounted for the middle of the model, so I take a second to attach a wire through the top to serve as a base for the arms. I then sculpt on the baggy part of the robe sleeves and map out how long the arms are going to be and how they're going to be holding their individual pieces of equipment. The staff of this shaman was made from a tube of polystyrene with jagged shapes whittled out of it. I wanted the top to have some mushrooms growing off of it, so I carefully drill holes at different distances from the top of the staff. I opt to make the mushroom caps separately and attach them on later. This sacrifices the details of the under cap rib part that some mushrooms have, but it makes attaching the mushroom cap a lot easier. Plus the model is so short, I'm just kind of praying that nobody looks underneath. The biggest crap shot of this entire project was the Spiderweb cape. I was at a loss about how to even start this thing, or whether to use green stuff or maybe like try a dryer lint or something, so I kind of just went for it as like a proof of concept with some green stuff. I rolled out a thin bit of green stuff for the cape's body, then used varying sizes of round bits on the end of my sculpting tools to push different sized holes into the cape patty, I guess. This left me with a holy cape that, when joined between two spider legs on the end, looks close enough to a spider web in my opinion. I could have maybe trimmed the insides of the holes in retrospect, but hey, I didn't expect anything half as acceptable when I started this, in the first try no less, so, I'll take it. The shaman's head was made from a little plastic ball or bead thing I had laying around. It was a little too big for what I wanted to use, and it made the model a bit taller than I had intended, but it ended up looking close enough. I sculpted the base of the helmet with 8 eye divots to give it a more spidery aesthetic, then the jaw part of the helmet, and then I attached the nose on as the final step. I pinned the head to the model and got to making the hood. The process I use to make hoods is 100% taken from the Juan Hidalgo tutorial that he does on green stuff hoods, so if you'd like more context on that, I highly suggest that tutorial, although he does it way better than me because he's a green stuff god. With the end in sight, I turned my attention to the shoulders. I added the base of some pauldrons onto the shoulders and leave enough room to add mushroom caps onto the pauldrons. Not only was it what I believed to be a good idea, but it helps bring the mushroom aesthetic onto the model's body, so you'll have them on the staff, the upper body, and the base, so you kind of got it, distributed all over. And with the pauldrons done, it was just a matter of sculpting the hands on, and I was done. So this is the completed Spider Shaman. As previously stated, Aaron wanted his shaman to look more knightly in appearance, rather than the more tribalistic aesthetic of the original model. And while it was a bit of a balance to juggle the various design aspects I wanted to implement, I think I landed on a nice medium for all of them. You got your armor, you got your robes, you got your mushrooms, you got your staff, and most importantly, you got your stabby bits. At the very least, he loved it when I showed it to him, so hey, mission accomplished. While I originally told him that I might need about 2 weeks to smash out a mini for this collab, I ended up doing this entire thing in only about 3 or 4 days, which is crazy fast for me. I'm generally a slow worker. We didn't have a set deadline or anything, so I wasn't rushing, but it just kind of ended up that way. For his part of the collab, he made a really cool necromancer model for me with some digital kit bashing. It's really sweet and has an awesome base, but I'm not going to show it to you. Instead, if you'd like to see it, I'll link his video in the description below. And make sure you sub to him while you're there. He's a really cool guy, and I'm glad I got the chance to work with him and get to know him. And I really hope we can do more things down the line. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.